I have the ability to change where I am now and to change how I act now. And I'm choosing to be myself.
I'm coming clean. And Erin, I'm coming sort of clean because but the world doesn't know. So I'm coming clean with this first part. I'm not sure if I'm going to come clean on the second. You're like one of my favorite people. Like I would love to work for you. If I was like 20 years younger than I am now, I would love to work for you. And because I imagine you keep it fun at work, and we're going to jump right in here, right? We're going to jump right
Okay.
in. All right, we're here. I was going to come clean on the second part, so I guess I got to do it now. I wasn't sure. We had such a good conversation a couple weeks ago, and this just shows you the joys of audio and tech, right? Because on my side, my tech blew it. So massively grateful that you came back to do the podcast again. Mm-hmm. And let me make sure I've nailed the last name. Erin Levzow.
Yep. Correct.
All right, Erin, you have like quite a journey to getting to where you are. And today you're working like a pretty cool job in innovation tech. How do you describe it? Like what do you say?
Well, I sell tacos on the internet. That's my job. But I am the vice president of marketing technology for Del Taco Restaurants, which is recently going through an acquisition with Jack in the Box.
And how's that been?
Amazing. I think only great things for the future. So, nothing but positive things so far. We'll see what the future holds.
I love this idea that marketing and tech is now a job by itself. Mm-hmm. Like, what on earth does that actually mean?
So, I mean, everything went digital years ago, right? And we started to see it slowly move and move and move. And there needed to be a technology expertise that meshed with the marketing, because otherwise you had marketers going to the IT teams going, I want to do this cool thing. And IT is going, well, let's look at the priority list. And marketing's going, but we're the priority, right? We're always, and like, if you know me, I'm the first one to be like, I'm the priority, like, listen to me. But IT would be like, no, actually, this is the priority. And so you'd get bumped down based on resourcing and all that. And so MarTech is something that brings both sides together and kind of straddles that fence. Now, I'm super lucky that Del Taco has an amazing IT team. And like our VP of restaurant technology, she is outstanding to work with. And like, I couldn't ask for a better peer to be working with. And then we have a VP of ops innovation who also works very closely with me on all things that are innovation or cool or futuristic. And it's a pretty amazing team to work on. I will say it's one of the few places that I can truly say you can break down silos very quickly.
All right. Like, again, you come off as very cool and approachable, but like, let's give in. I sell tacos on the internet, but
I do,
when I look at your like, even the way your LinkedIn post, like your LinkedIn is set up, like, okay, first of all, top 25 women, 40 under 40, CMO of the year for 2020. I mean, you've landed in the land of baller and you deserve that status. However, and I know too much because we've done this one time already, but like your path was not the normal path. It wasn't like,
right,
went to school, got an MBA, Ivy Leaguer, right?
Yeah, no.
Like, let me just pick which job I want. And then, of course, I'm going to eventually be all these accolades. Like, can you kind of share how you started and why you think that's been kind of like the best thing for you?
Yeah. And the great thing about having so much in my life going on is I can't even remember what I said the last time we pretended like we tried to do this. So it's going to be all new. Who knows? But I will tell you that I just was cleaning my basement and I found my ACT score, and that's like the SAT for the rest of the world. It's horrible. My ACT was like the worst. I like got the basic score for like writing your name. So like I was never going
200 points. 200 points.
Like there was no way I was getting into an Ivy League school. So I went to Illinois State University, which was still wonderful. I love Illinois State, and studied theater. And I went from a small town of like 2,000 people to a state school of 20,000 people. So it was a big, wide, eye-opening experience. I thought I was going to be an actor. That's my plan. My plan was to be an actor and if that failed, my backup was to run a theater. So that's what I was going to do in college. I got out of college. I worked my way through college, got out and drove to Vegas. I wanted to live in LA, but I couldn't afford it. I had $800. I had worked at Olive Garden. I was a very, very bad waitress. Like no one should have me as their waitress. And like Olive Garden gives you like a waist thing, an apron. And I would spill soup on me so many times that by the end of the night, I would have flipped that apron 5 or 6 different times to try and wear it differently. It was bad. Anyway, got to Vegas, realized couldn't afford LA. Found a $600 apartment for 2 months. I got 2 months for $600 because they had found a dead body in the apartment. They cleaned it out for me. And then
I can't say I saw that coming. I definitely didn't see that.
No, like it was very like, some people are like, wow, you're risky, or like that took courage. And I'm like, was it courage? I don't know. Was it naive? Was it ignorance? I don't know. But I was just like, I was going to make it. I was going to figure this out. And bought $100 mattress off the back of some guy's truck. Didn't buy the box springs because I did not know what those were. And slept on the floor until I could find a job. When I worked at Bally's Paris Rio as a box office supervisor, which put me into theater, right? It was very exciting. I got to work in theater. Was moved up to a house manager because there was Richard Frankel's Broadway production and producers there, and they wanted someone with a theater background. So it was great. Got promoted and was managing a bunch of people. Didn't know the first thing about doing that. Just thought, okay, this should be easy. I have 60 employees. What do I do with them? And they sent me through Caesars, like a excellence in management course that they send all managers, directors, vice presidents through. And at the end of this week-long intensive course, teaching you how to be a leader, they said, you're a natural trainer. Your Myers-Briggs shows that you're a natural trainer. You're great in front of people. You should come be a trainer. Okay, yeah, that's like being an actor. Great. So joined the training team, got to train for all the different properties. They flew me to Atlantic City. They put me through Cognos training and sequel theory training. Didn't know the first thing about what I was learning, but if they asked me to do it, I would do it. Recession hit. You don't need trainers when you're not hiring employees. It was the first time I had lost my job for something I had never done. Like I didn't do anything wrong, but they're saying like, sorry, you're not going to have a job tomorrow. Okay. But Caesars at the time said like, we still have job openings, even though we're in a recession. What do you want to do? And I said, I will do anything. I will be a housekeeper. I'll clean rooms, which I'm glad I didn't, because that is the hardest job in the whole world. Like, I don't think there's a harder job than cleaning hotel rooms in Las Vegas. And they said, what do you know about internet marketing? I have the Facebook, and they put me in front of the director at the time at Caesars for digital or internet. And she said, why should I hire you? You know nothing about internet marketing. And I was like, fair point. Completely fair point. I have a photographic memory. I never give up. I didn't have anything that would take me away from work. And I have a Midwest work ethic. And yes.
What year is this, you think? Give me close.
08.
08. Okay.
Yeah. So it was like right at the recession.
I love this. I mean, there's so much here. I mean, first of all, I'll say what everybody is probably thinking, like, whatever it takes, whatever. How do you, I'm sure when you're in it too, you're not like, this will be great for 13 years down the line when I'm selling tacos on the internet. You're probably thinking like, I've got to figure this out.
Yeah.
Right. Is that where we are?
You're making like $28,000 a year, $30,000 a year. Like and there are some days where even when I was making that, I remember like now I'm like, I feel like I had more money then, but I didn't have children like sucking the money out of me either. So yeah, it was just getting by, figuring out what was next. And but I still live by that, this idea that like, no is not an acceptable answer, right? No just means like, okay, we'll find another way. Let's work around that. And that's how I deal with people who get in my way too. It's like, okay, we just have to find a different way, or we have to persuade them in a different manner. But we don't, no is not an option. No might just mean not right now. So I got this job working in digital. She hired me. She happened to be from the Midwest too. And I just worked my way up. Everything they brought to me, I did. And I was hourly, which was great because they'd be like, do you want to take a lunch? Absolutely not. Do you know how much I get paid when I don't take a lunch? Twice as much as the minimum wage you're paying me over here. So it was great. And kept taking things on. They needed like, I joke with people that like, if it was like a ladder of importance, it would be like whale feces, me, right? Like I was like, I'll bring you your coffee. And if they needed a PowerPoint clicker, I was in the room and I literally clicked the PowerPoint. They'd be like, next slide, done, got it, under control. But what it did was put me in these great rooms with these great executives where I learned, and I just sucked it all in. And I would take the decks home and understand what was being talked about, what Theo meant, what the average daily rate meant, all of this information. During that time, I got called by MGM to move over to MGM. It was moving from one big guy to the next big guy. And I went over, I got to learn ad tagging, tracking. We were the internal agency. The clients were our properties. It was wonderful. Then got called by the Palms, went over there to lead marketing. Meanwhile, I took on the presidency of the Las Vegas Interactive Marketing Association because I wanted this idea that we should cultivate digital marketers. Nobody was out teaching digital marketing at this time actively. And so we were letting digital buying folks just figure it out, or trust vendors, which you need to be able to be smart enough to know what questions you're asking. And then decided, not that there's anything wrong with it, but decided I didn't want to raise my kids in Vegas. We got to get out and moved to Wingstop restaurants in Dallas. And when I interviewed there, they said, what do you think about wings? And I was like, I'm going to be honest, never really had them, think they're gross. And they still hired me, shockingly enough. And now I love them. And honestly, there are no wings that are better than Wingstop wings. And I will go on record saying that. Leading all digital, social, e-commerce. It was so much fun. Went with the company to take it public. Moved over to Freebirds because my mentor was over there, Bobby Shaw. Amazing mentor, has written a leadership restaurant book called Cutting Onions. Yes. And
look, what I love about this is you've done a lot of shit. I mean, like we haven't even gotten to the hospitality side.
It's a long story.
So then we move into hospitality. Like, how do you leap from Olive Garden, like breadsticks and wings in the casino business? And like, how does hospitality show up? When did that show up?
Right after Freebirds took me to Hathaway, a MarTech agency, which was awesome. We worked on all the different brands, and not just restaurant brands, but multiple different brands. And then I got a call from Marcus Hotels and Resorts based out of Milwaukee. And they said, we want you to come up here and be our CMO in Wisconsin. Well, Wisconsin brings us closer to my parents who still live in Illinois, where I grew up. And my husband grew up here as well. And so I came up here, I was on vacation. I stopped by to meet the team, fell in love with the team, wanted to joined as CMO of Marcus. And they set out to build an art hotel, a hotel all about art. And Greg Marcus, to his credit, said, Erin, why don't you lead this? Help me figure out what we should build. And we went out to figure this out along with my peer, Kenton Duncan, and we traveled the country to figure out what an art hotel should be. And we came up with St. Kate. St. Kate is the celebration of arts hotel. It's all about cultivating the creative process. So it's not just visual art on the wall. It's dancing, it's performance art. There's a theater in the hotel. It's in downtown Milwaukee. It's on Condé Nast top list. It's on Travel and Leisure's top list. It is truly a hotel that is one of a kind and guaranteed a passion project of my own, because it brought that love of theater, the love of performance together with hospitality. And the idea that it's boring to just walk into a hotel, because you can walk into any hotel and they all at a certain point start to look the same. I can't even remember which hotel is which that I've been in unless they set themselves apart. And St. Kate does that. It's a different experience. It's a truly all senses experience.
Therefore, it's marketing. I mean, like, how do you separate yourself?
It's marketing.
Okay, so look, I love that you like I said, there's food. Like, if you go back to your beginning, like, there's a lot of joy in play, right? There's a lot of happiness in food and escapism that food can bring, in drama, right? Entertain me,
Yeah.
right? And like the brands that you were at were, you're like, how do we make art here? How do we make theater here?
Yeah.
You know, like, you get to where you are now. Do you feel like, when I think of Del Taco, like, I'm thinking back to the rewards program I think you just launched, which I'm hoping you will share. There's play, there's fun. Like, was that a conscious decision for you to like design a life where you're constantly staying curious and the brand lets you play? Is that or did you just sort of like stumble into that?
I think it's both. I wouldn't say it's conscious. I would say it's subconscious, because it's just what I'm attracted to, right? I'm attracted to places that you get to innovate. I'm attracted to places that we get to grow and build new things, and that I'm attracted to people who are not no people, right? So the leaders I work for are people who are like, sure, run with that. And they might know that I'm completely off the rails. Like when I told Greg Marcus I wanted to build a theater in the hotel, and he was like, no. I had to convince him that it was a really cool idea and it was going to be super useful. And it took a lot of work, but it wasn't, and he got behind it. And that's exciting. And I'm attracted to things like that. Innovation, new, different people who want to make their mark, right? People who want to go, hey, let's build this cool shit together. That's exciting for me. And at Del Taco, we get to do that. So we did my position is brand new. It didn't exist before I joined Taco. Tim Hackbart created the position for me, and created the position because there was a need at Del Taco. And then I was lucky enough to fill that position. And it's all about bringing that marketing and tech stack together and building new and innovative stuff. But there is no roadmap set out ahead of me that says, here's what it needs to look like and here's what you do. I get to build that with my team. Now that includes our new Del Yeah rewards. And it's literally called Del Yeah.
Del Yeah. I love this.
Like, it should be fun. And I joke with people who work with me and around me, like, we're not brain surgeons. We're not rocket scientists. Like, if we make a misstep, what's the worst that could happen? Like, a taco gets destroyed, maybe, but like, the world's not falling apart here.
Yeah, but
so like, let's have fun doing it.
What I love though is, just because you're not brain surgeons and you're not rocket scientists, you are real and you keep it real every day. And to me, I think what I think happens, and tell me if I'm off on this, like, we judge somebody by their title. We instantly judge them by their title. We critique them.
Yeah.
Vice President of Marketing Technology, right?
Yeah.
Like, and in some ways, that's good. Like you've earned that clout. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying there's any pretentiousness, which is why I would say what I said at the beginning. It would be, I would love to like be on your team and play, but like, this is you every day. Like, totally. Like, to somebody that's listening right now, that's maybe they don't have permission to be themselves in their culture, or they're in a position where they can actually shape the culture. And I will share, when I wrote Return on Courage, like I said, I really thought I was writing this book as like a devious attempt to position my last life. And you go on the journey and you sit with amazing people. And I remember sitting with Loretta Hidalgo, a founding astronaut at Virgin Galactic, and she said to me, her definition of success is when there's no daylight between the personal you and the professional you.
Yes. Yes.
And as a guy that's been in the service business for 20 years, and, you know, your theater comment makes sense, like tap dancing away for 20 years, trying to make sure that I land with clients. That comment had me driving back with my knuckles in the 10 and 2 position in silence, acknowledging like maybe I had lost myself in the service business. 1% a year over 20 years is 20% of me. And like, I didn't want to be anyone but myself anymore. Oh shit, I'm writing the book because I need the book. Now, do you feel like along your, have you always embraced this version of you, or like when you were at Caesars? That's kind of a corporate culture. I know. I've worked with them. Like, tell me, have you always been able to be you?
Yes, but different forms of me, different versions, and a lot of therapy later. I think what she said, I can stay true to now. I couldn't have said I was true to that before. I also think it's an everyday battle because there are people who will force their perceptions and they're on you, as well as there are cultures that will expect you to adapt. Now, there's some adaptation that is okay, and it's not out of the norm to expect people, same as like if you expect people to work 9 to 5, right? Like, okay, maybe I don't like working 9 to 5. Okay, then I either need to find a new job or I need to adapt, right? So you have to decide what you're willing to adapt to, but does that change your core values? Does that change you as a human? I will tell you, I don't change who I am as a human. And my boss knows because I occasionally will throw a good tantrum here or there, and he'll go, but he knows that's who I am. And he also knows how I'll turn it around and make it amazing, but I keep my emotions out there.
So is it adapt or surrender?
I say adapt because you have more control of it then. Surrender sounds like you have no control over it. And again, years of therapy later, and I still talk about this, right? I talk about, in fact, recently, and I'm not shy about the fact that like I go to therapy. I go to therapy because I think everybody needs someone to talk to, right? And your book helped me a lot. I read a lot of books like this, but sometimes you need that sounding board of someone speaking back to you, right? That coach. And I've had mentors of other executive women in the space that are much older than me. And what I'll find is they've adapted or surrendered a lot more than I've had to, right? But they've had to lead the way. They've had to change who they were to adapt to a culture as an executive woman. But it was during the era in which they became an executive woman that they had to deal with it that way. I have the ability to change where I am now and to change how I act now. And I'm choosing to be myself. And it's a risk because some people don't like it. And I've had in the history of like working my way through my career, I've had bosses, I've had superiors tell me, Erin, you need to not show your emotions. I was like, he's showing his emotions. He's fine. Why is it my problem, right? And some of that layers in the fact that I'm a female, right? I've had people tell me to know my place because I'm young. I don't know what that does for me. Like I still have a lot of experience. I don't know what my age has anything to do with it, but okay. Mm-hmm. So there are some people that haven't liked it. Those are people that aren't necessarily in my life anymore.
I always find it like, okay, it's not their fault, right? Like it's not their fault. Like when somebody says something like keep your emotions out of it and they're not in marketing, they're on the other side of the brain, let's just say.
Yeah.
It's like, do you know how you move people? Like you actually, like if you actually dissect
through their emotions,
like, so you're going to say, you're going to take away my superpower because it's offending your value system. When really, but at the same time, you're like, go find me customers. Go. How do you win a customer over? You win them over by emotion, typical Bermanism. No motion without emotion, right? Like there's nothing, you're not going to change someone's behavior without that. But why is that okay for the outside world? Here's the other thing that drives me mad. I'm ranting a little bit, but like, tell me if you disagree or agree. Like, okay, great. Like, okay, fine. Let's say I'm not going to be able to change your behavior. Okay, fine. Mm-hmm. What works in you at home? When you're not wearing khakis, in my mind, it's always a man.
Yeah.
All right, so when you're not wearing your button down and your khakis and you're at home and you're just on a weekend, what is your favorite commercial? What makes you laugh? Oh, I love that. I love that Michael B. Jordan commercial when he's Amazon Alexa. That's so funny. I'm like, okay, well, why can't we do that here? Yeah. There's no difference between that and what we're trying to do. So there's like something that happens in the brain. Like maybe I'm on a mission to be like, stop bringing your pretend professional version of you and like start thinking about what actually lands with you.
Yeah. I also think that professional version of a lot of people that they show up with, whatever you want to call it, professional, a shell, it's insecurity, because people are always worried about what the real world's going to think of them. I'm still worried about what the real world's going to think of me. Right. But like this idea that like, what if someone actually sees who I am or sees me for me? And that's scary to a lot of people. And so I've had a lot of folks that I talk to go, you're just so easy to talk to. And it's because I want to see the person. I want to see the person under the shell. You're very similar. You want to see the person that you're really talking to. You don't want to see the BS of like the khakis and the button up and the, I'm going to turn on my corporate filter. Like, let's talk about it so that we can move and get somewhere.
The irony is I almost called this the Khakis and Button Down podcast, and at the last minute pivoted to Courageous Podcast. But that was the original idea, was going to be, let's watch paint dry together. And then I was like, well, I don't know, is this viable? There's a big audience that likes to do that.
Will this resonate?
will this land? Where's the emotion? No, let's pivot to courage. Fine. All right. So let's say, I mean, in some ways this is therapy. I feel like it's therapy for me. It's totally. It's unfair that like you're willing to give an hour for me to like ask what I'm curious about, and I adore this. And maybe I'll change the name to the Courageous Podcast Session or something. I don't know, 'cause it does feel like that way. So like, let's say someone's listening right now. They're on their Peloton or elliptical, or they're walking, and they're kind of at that spot where they've had their first job under their belt. Clearly they're curious and they want to be a good leader. They want to keep growing, right? And you take Olive Garden and Wingstop and hospitality and the casino business. Like, in your mind, if you had to sum it up to just like one lesson, what is the lesson of all of those experiences?
To say yes. And it actually did come out of my theater degree, which is to say yes and embrace it. It's the number one rule of improv. And it's to, like, if someone comes out and they decide in improv that they're a giraffe in a business suit, you can't be like, you're not a giraffe. You have to be like, great, nice to meet you, giraffe in a business suit. And I'm a hippopotamus, right? Like, you have to say yes and, right? You have to add to it. And while that is a very silly example, it is 100% the reason I'm where I'm at today, because everything that's come my way, I've been like, sure. Like, what's the worst that can happen? And that's how I think of things. Like, what's the worst that can happen? I'll, lose it all. What do I have to lose? Right? Like, I have my family. I have the love. Material things are just material things. Who cares? So you embrace the yes, and that keeps you moving. And that's what I've done my whole career, whether it was Olive Garden, moving to Vegas, buying a mattress, whatever it might be. It's like, okay, let's see. Doesn't mean you shouldn't do your research and figure it out, but you embrace that yes, and you jump, you take the risk.
See, courage. But actually, it sounds like it's not just yes, right? It's mm-hmm. Yes, and it's and. Like, there's always an and.
Yes and.
And the and is the curious part. It's like, okay, yes, or maybe the and is the action part. Like, what are you going to do about it?
I think it is. It's like, okay, I'll take it. Now what am I doing? Right? It's the yes, I'll go to MGM. Now what? That's the and. And how do I continue to grow myself? And I'm a natural, like, I want to understand everything, right? If someone says something in a meeting and I'm like, I don't know what that means, I need to go research it, right? I always tell my team, take lots of notes, because I'm going to say a word. You're not going to know what that word means. You're not going to want to interrupt me. Let's figure it out together later, because I won't realize you don't know the same words I don't know.
All right. So how big is the team now for you?
We have 4. Like, it's a very lean team. It's shocking what we're able to do. All things digital and technology for MarTech. It's a very lean team.
Okay. And you're going along your day. Everything is cool. And they've created this role for you. And then all of a sudden, Jack in the Box shows up and is like, ta-da, right? So how does that work? There's these two cultures. They kind of play. You can see how they're both playful brands in my mind.
Totally. Like, oh my gosh. I tell people, before I knew this was happening, for years, I would tell people when I first moved to Vegas, because there's no Jack in the Box in Wisconsin, that allowed me to live for the first year of my life in Vegas, was eating Jack in the Box. It's so good. But it's good. Like, I don't know what the future holds. We're still in the process, but it seems like a very, very positive transition.
That sounds a little political. That sounds a little professional.
I don't know how else to answer it. Like that's what it is right now. Cause like the acquisition is not closed.
Okay. Fair enough. Are you in active conversations with anyone from the Jack team? Have you heard from anyone from over there?
The company is. I try and stay out of it, and they'll bring me in when they need me.
When they're ready for you. Okay. So I'm curious to see what happens and hear what happens. Like, one other skill you have that I love, and it's a kind of a new passion, is you're like professional dancer now. Semi-professional ballroom dancer? Like, am I blowing this?
Yes. So I, a year ago, started dancing with Fred Astaire. Like, I've always danced in one form or another since I was a kid, but this was ballroom dance. And I never was really interested in it. I thought, like, I can't, that seems slow. But I started a year ago and I fell in love with it. And so now we compete. My family fell in love with it. The kids are adorable doing it. I compete again at the end of February at something called Winter Ball that happens here in Wisconsin. And they have competitions all throughout the U.S. because Fred Astaire is throughout the U.S. But I have the teacher I have that works with me and his partner, she works with our son. They're the world champions. Like, they go overseas and they win. And so I have the best teachers in the world working with me and teaching me. And I will tell you, it has taught me a lot about leadership. And I told them one day, I said, this has taught me a lot. I posted something on LinkedIn about it where I like to be in control. I'm a type A. I like to lead. And it turns out you can't be a leader in ballroom. I have to let him lead. And that was very hard for me. And he stopped our dance one day and he goes, you know what? I like to dance too. In fact, I like to be a leader. What do you think about coming along for that? And I just started giggling. And that's how I handle when I get nervous or like anything like that. And I said, you're right. And it's very hard. Like, once I know what needs to happen, I'm ready to go do it. But to actually follow and listen and respond, like, I can't just jump ahead. I have to respond based off of listening to what we're doing with my body. So hard. Being able to be vulnerable, which I listen to Brene Brown. She talks all about vulnerability. Courage takes vulnerability. And I tell people, you need to be vulnerable. I have no problem being vulnerable with my emotions, but the moment I had to trust someone to catch me or throw me in the air is the moment that vulnerability went straight out the window. And so being able to say, like, okay, I can put all my trust in you. I'm not going to trust. I can only control what I can control. And I can't control how the other person responds. I have to trust that. It is, like I said, like, as I went through and processed it, each piece of ballroom dance really has taught me a lot to make me a better leader and a more conscious leader.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
And it happens to be fun, which is, again, makes it perfectly in line with your brand, right? But like, I think there's so much. And I love to say, if I could speak fluent metaphor, those who know me, I'm in, right? And the metaphor of being a great leader, right, is for you, like, all the lessons that you've learned from ballroom dancing. There's so much stuff I feel like in culture that's just BS talk. It's just talk. It's like wall art. It's, HR says this is important, but like, how does it get woven into the business? And I kind of feel like a lot of the stuff that I'm curiously looking at even right now, it's even purpose, right? We've talked to death about purpose, but it's like the last, like, down the corridor that nobody goes down. It's a one-person purpose job versus how's it getting woven into the real business. So I love that you said sometimes it takes, like, being in it. You know exactly what to do, but until you're in it and doing it, that's the moment you have to be vulnerable. And as a leader, it's not just about leading. You have to let go sometimes and listen, right? Let's see. And I think
that's not just ballroom dance. Like, it's anything. Like, you have to be in it. So, like, you make a really solid point. I was talking to someone the other day because, like, we do safe families where before kids have to go to foster home when they're in an emergency situation, they can place homeless kids in our home and we'll take care of them for a brief time until they can be reunited with a parent. Or
that's amazing.
We'll go help at a rescue mission. But I was just talking to someone yesterday where I said, it's so easy for someone to go, that person should just find housing or they should find a job. There's so many jobs out there. Go make money. And when you actually put yourself walking side by side with someone who has less, who has, or nothing, who can't get out of the hole that they may have dug themselves or society may have helped them dig, or they are dealing with mental health, you truly see walking side by side with that person how hard it is for them. So it's very easy to say, well, they should go do this, or the homeless should do this, or those kids, they'll turn out okay, until you've walked side by side, until you're in it. And so I encourage everybody, whether it's ballroom dance, which is a fun and exciting thing, or whether it's jumping in to help people who are less fortunate than you, or getting really in, not just, it's great that we make donations, but to walk side by side with someone and feel it and feel how they feel, then you start to understand. And we forget it. We forget it as we grow. We have to keep reminding ourselves.
Now, again, I think it's the same thing of personal and professional. In professional, there's a lot of steps that you take and research that we do and personas that we build. And yes. we're almost robotic. That's part of that process. But when it comes to personal, you're just so in your own thing. Maybe our awareness cues go down. Now, in the spirit of yes, and since I'm going to play off of your improv here, I would love for you to take us home. Why don't you take us home? You can take us wherever you want. You could ask a question. You could give 3 sort of highlight insights on what you think the big takeaway is from this podcast. And I always like to say, wow, if someone's still listening, they're clearly involved, interested in this topic, and they might need something more, or they just how would you take us out of this one today?
Sure. Okay. So, what you just caught me there with is what are the 3 things, right? And so when I think about everything we just talked about, I would say the 3 things, if you could take away any 3 things, are yes, no, and jump, meaning yes, and, right? Just embrace the yes. No, there is no. Figure out a way around it, or that just means not right now. And jump, meaning take the risk. Whatever that thing is that you're waiting on or you're not sure about, jump, do it. Worst case, you'll figure it out after you jump. And when I say all those things, I know they're very easy to say, but I've actually lived them. I've actually done them. And it has been worth it. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. I'm on TikTok. I'm on all these things. So if anyone who's listening wants to reach out and tell me how they've embraced the yes, ignored the no, or jumped, feel free. I'd love to hear it.
It's so good. That should be your podcast. Yes, no, or jump.
Yes, no, or jump.
I want to put a bow on this, just because the other part that, although you succinctly, and what a surprise, a marketer succinctly kind of put it into those 3 ideas. Let's acknowledge that it took you a world of experience before you could say yes in some scenarios, say no in others, and jump in others. Maybe early it was jump all the time, right? Or yes.
Yeah, it was jump and yes. Yeah,
right?
Yes. But anyone said, you want to do this? Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's really hard to say no to no in certain scenarios early. But if let's say I'm kind of just figuring my shit out along the way here, you got to have enough scars and experiences to know when to say no, or know when to say yes, right? It might not be time for yes or jump or no, right?
Or luxury. You might have the luxury to say no to some things, right? That you didn't have the luxury to before.
Yeah. Well, I guess what I'm attempting to go at is it's almost like the same thing with the Great Resignation. Everyone seems to be jumping. Does that mean they're getting the right job for them? Maybe where you're at is exactly the spot that you're supposed to be at, and you should stay there. Some of my favorite experiences were the toughest bosses. I used to have a boss named Dennis Glennon in New York City. He was a tough, he was never had a tougher boss to work for. He's also one of the ones I remember because his work ethic was so there. You could count on him being in there. People were afraid to go talk to him. Sorry, Dennis. And this is you're now learning this for the first time. But I made it a challenge. I'm going to I'm going to find a way to be respected by Dennis. Now, the fact is, as a 23-year-old kid, there's no way not then, maybe now, but back then there's no way. But it wasn't time for me to leap. It wasn't time for me to jump to another thing. I needed to stay and learn the lessons of that place. But what a great way to sort of kind of end. And obviously my hope is we can have you back on another time. Say yes. And
absolutely.
I really appreciate you coming on today. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.